Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to be teaching you how to learn Python as a complete beginner. I'm teaching you step by step what you need to know about print statements and variables. This is the first video that I will be doing to help you learn Python. Alright, to begin I want to start by talking about the print statement. Now the print statement is the function, the print function, and then you have parentheses where you will pass an argument. The argument can be a string of a variable or a number. So we're going to start by saying hello world. Now you notice that I use quotation marks to contain this string hello world in these parentheses. Now when we run this, the print function it'll output hello world to the screen. Now this prints it so that the user sees this text. Alright, now another thing we can do with the print function is we can use just single quotes. So we can say hello world, and the output will be exactly the same. Now what you want to notice is that the cursor, after you use the print statement, the cursor goes down to the next line, so it does automatically have a new line character at the end of the print statement. That's why each of these printed on two separate lines. Alright, and there are ways to get rid of that, but I won't be covering them in this video. Now, another thing you can do with the print statement is you can use triple quotes or triple single quotes, but right now you can use triple quotes to say hello on one line and then world on the next line. So if you want to split your text on multiple lines but only use one print statement, then you can use triple quotes. And this is good if you have a lot of text to display or if you want your output formatted nice and neatly. So when we run this, you're going to see that we have hello on one line and then world on the line below it, which is exactly what we wanted. Alright, now let's say you want to print something with quotes in it. You might be wondering, well, we have quotes here, so how would I print quotes in the text? You can do that by either using single quotes, or you can use triple quotes to do that. So you can say, and then we'll put another quote, hello world. Or if you wanted to have an apostrophe, you could say print hello, we'll say worlds. Okay, so we got a lot of different ways to display hello world to the screen or hello world, and then you can see that there's the quotation marks here. And that's like the basics that there is to know about the print statement when you're just displaying text to the user. There's different things that you can do with the print statement, but for now this is what we'll be covering in this video. So now that we're familiar with that, I want to talk about variables. Now, a variable will refer to a piece of data, which can be a string of text or maybe another variable or a number or anything like that. Alright, so the first variable I'm going to make here, I'm going to call it number 1. Now, notice when I named the variable, I made the first letter of the first word lowercase and the first letter of the next word uppercase. Now this is called camel case, and it's what you want to use when you're naming your variables. You can either use that or you can separate the words by underscores, but I prefer to make the first letter of the first word lowercase and then the first letter of every word that comes after that uppercase. So now what we're going to say is equals 5. So we have number 1 equals 5. And what this equal sign is here is the assignment operator. So that's what assigns this value of 5 to this variable number 1. So we have the variable, the assignment operator, and the value. Now, what you cannot do is you cannot say 5 equals number 1. It has to be variable assignment operator value from left to right. You can see that if I try to run this, it throws an error because Python does not understand this. All right, so we can erase that. Now what we can do is we can say print number 1. So this is where we are passing the variable to the print statement. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to say print 5, and we're going to see how the comparison of each of these is, or how each of these compares. Oh, they're both 5, and that's what we expected. So when you pass a variable to the print statement, it prints the value that the variable refers to. It does not print the variable itself. So we have 5 and 5, and that's how you could print. 2 ways that you could print a number to the screen. You could either just print the number, or you could print the variable. Now, if we were to change this, if we were to add something like greeting equals hello, then we could print greeting. Get rid of that. So this is another variable being passed to the print function, but watch what happens here. The string hello prints, because greeting refers to the string hello. So that's how you can print the value of the variable to the screen just by passing it to the print function. Now if we do this, we can say number 1 equals 5, and then we have number 2, and we'll make it, equal 8. So we print number 1, and then we have number 2. So what you can also do is you can print some operations. So you can say number 1 and number 2. So number 1 plus number 2. And we have 13 because it performed the operation and then it printed the result. Now, let's say you wanted to make your text a little cleaner and you wanted to print number 1 and number 2, but you wanted to have a little description of which one was which. You can print text and a variable in the same print statement. So let's say we want to say number 1, say equals, and then what you do is you do the quotes, and then you do a comma, and then you can have the variable. So every part of your print statement needs to be separated by a comma. All right, so we have number 1 equals, and it'll print the value, and then we have number 2 equals, print the value. All right, so we have number 1 equals 5, and number 2 equals 8. Number 2. All right, now let's say I were to change this number 2 to 8, but in quotation marks. Now let's run this and see what happens. Number 1 equals 5, number 2 equals 8. Perfect. So it looks the same, looks like it would work. We get the numbers out that we wanted. But if I do that, and let's say I want to say print number 1 plus number 2 like I did before. Let's run that and see what happens. So we end up getting an error for this, and it says unsupported operand types for plus, int and string. Well, the reason that was yes, this number 8 right here looked like the number 8 when it printed, but when you actually go back to the value that number 2 refers to, this is a string. It's closed in quotes, so it's a string. It's not actually the value of 8. Even though it is a number, it's still a string to the computer. So the computer can't do operations on it like it would if it saw it as a number. It doesn't know that this is still a number. It sees it as a string, so it stores it as a string. So you can't do operations on numbers and strings. All right. Now, one more thing I want to show you is, so you can assign variables up here, but then you can also update variables in your code. So let's say we want to make number 1 equal to 10 now. So then down here, I'm going to print number 1 again. Number 1 equals, and then number 1. All right, now let's run this and see what happens. All right, so we have number 1 equals 5, number 2 equals 8, and number 1 equals 10. Well, this makes sense. You might have thought that maybe we were going to get both number 1s equal to 10 or both number 1s equal to 5, but in Python, you can update variables, and the way Python works is it runs from left to right, top to bottom. So whatever happens before you update number 1 to 10, it'll take that first, the only value of number 1 that it knows, and it's going to use that. Then once it knows that this new value of number 1, then it's going to use that for anything after this assignment. All right, so from this point on, from here, number 1 is equal to 5. But anything from this point on, number 1 is equal to 10. All right, so that is the basics of Python. That's it for this video. We covered print statements and variables. I'm going to have more videos to come teaching you Python, so I hope you enjoyed this one and stay tuned for more.